Confirmation bias. You're not looking for the truth. You're looking for proof that you're right. Someone decides sugar is totally fine, so they Google, why sugar is good for you. They scroll past Harvard and the Mayo Clinic and click on top 7 reasons smart people eat candy every day. Once your brain picks a side, it filters everything else like spam. You don't analyze, you defend, like a lawyer, but with snacks. Anchoring bias. The first number sticks, even if it's nonsense. There's a toaster that was $200, now it's $80. You never wanted a toaster. You don't even eat bread. But wow, what a deal. Anchoring bias makes your brain cling to the first thing it sees, a price, a date, a random guess, and compare everything else to it, even if the anchor is tied to nonsense. Negativity bias. Bad stuff hits harder. You get 10 compliments and 1 mean comment. Guess which one lives rent-free in your head all week? Someone hears praise all day, but then, you talk weird. Cue emotional collapse. Negativity bias zooms in on threats, criticism, and anything that feels unsafe, because your brain still thinks you're surviving in the wild. But no tiger ever judged your presentation voice. Bandwagon effect. If everyone's doing it, it must be right. A new app shows up. Suddenly, everyone's downloading it. You don't know what it does. You're not even sure you want it. But it has 100 million users. That many people can't be wrong, right? That's the bandwagon effect. Popularity feels like proof, even if it's just momentum in disguise. Welcome aboard. No idea where this train is going. Dunning-kruger effect. The less you know, the more confident you are. Read one article, you're an expert. Watched a 3-minute video, time to explain economics at dinner. This bias flips the curve. Beginners overestimate, experts hesitate. Because the more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. So next time someone says, "Trust me, I've done my research," ask how many tabs they actually had open. Sunk cost fallacy. You stay. Just because you already stayed too long. You're watching a terrible movie. It's boring. The plot makes no sense. But you're halfway through, so you keep going. Not because you enjoy it, but because you already invested time. That's the sunk cost fallacy. Clinging to something bad, just to justify what you've already wasted. Reminder, quitting isn't failure. Sometimes it's just efficiency. Halo effect. Attractive equals smart, or kind, or right. You see someone well-dressed and charming, and instantly assume they're good at everything. Public speaking? Probably great. Cooking? Why not? That's the halo effect. One positive trait lights up the whole person, even if it's totally unrelated. It's how we end up taking financial advice from someone with perfect hair. Availability heuristic. If you can recall it easily, it must be common. You hear about 3 shark attacks in the news. Now the ocean feels deadly. But vending machines injure more people each year. This bias tricks you into thinking memorable equals frequent. Your brain loves vivid stories more than boring data, especially if sharks are involved. Framing effect. Same information, different spin, different decision. You're told, this yogurt is 90% fat-free. Sounds great, but if someone says it contains 10% fat, suddenly it feels worse. Framing bias means the way something is presented matters more than what it actually says, because we don't just read the words, we feel the tone. Optimism bias. Bad things happen, but not to you, right? You drive a little too fast, skip sunscreen, just this once. It'll be fine. Probably, maybe, hopefully. Optimism bias gives you the comforting illusion that you're the exception, which is great, until it isn't, because luck isn't a life plan. Planning fallacy. This won't take long. You estimate 2 hours for a task that eats the whole weekend, every time. The planning fallacy makes you underestimate how long things really take, even if you failed to finish them on time every single time before. Future you always seems more efficient than present you. Spoiler, they're the same person. Bias blind spot. You see other people's biases, but not your own. You can spot manipulation in ads, emotional arguments in politics, flawed logic in your friend's opinion, but your own brain? Totally objective. This is the bias that hides all the other biases. It's like wearing tinted glasses and thinking the world just looks that color. Choice supportive bias. Once you choose something, you start defending it. You buy an uncomfortable chair, but then say it's ergonomic. You pick the wrong restaurant, but call it cozy and authentic. This bias rewrites the past to make your decisions look better, because admitting I chose poorly feels worse than sitting in pain. Self-serving bias. Success? That's your talent. Failure? Obviously external factors. You ace a test. I'm smart. You fail it. The questions were unfair. Self-serving bias protects your ego like a little emotional bodyguard. Just don't let it turn into full-time denial. Hindsight bias. After something happens, it feels obvious. You didn't expect that plot twist, but now you knew it all along. Your team lost? I had a feeling. The stock crashed? Totally predictable. This bias makes the past look more predictable than it was, and tricks you into thinking your memory works like a crystal ball. Spoiler, it doesn't. False consensus effect. You assume most people think like you. You prefer texting over calling. Obviously, everyone does. You skip breakfast. Normal people hate mornings too. This bias makes your own habits feel universal, even when they're completely personal. Turns out, your bubble is not the whole world. Spotlight effect. You think everyone's watching you. You trip on the stairs and instantly imagine 20 strangers judging your entire existence. In reality, most people didn't notice. The rest already forgot. The spotlight effect makes your small moment feel huge, but only to you. Everyone else is too busy replaying their own awkward moment from 2017. Illusion of control. You're not in control. You just feel like you are. Pressing the crosswalk button 5 times. Refreshing a page like it'll load faster. This bias gives comfort. I did something. Even if it did absolutely nothing. Sometimes pushing the button just pushes your own anxiety. Recency bias. The last thing you saw feels the most important. You finish reading a long article and only remember the final sentence. You watch a debate, and the person who spoke last seems to win. Recency bias makes recent events feel more significant just because they're still echoing in your brain. It's not about logic, it's about timing. And sometimes, the loudest thing in your head is just the last thing that got in. Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. You learn a new word, and suddenly see it everywhere. One day it didn't exist. Now it's in ads, in songs, on license plates. It's not that the word exploded. It's just that your brain flipped a light switch. This bias makes new info feel like it's following you. But really, you just started noticing. Call it coincidence, or just very selective attention.